Hello and welcome to Petrosys webinars. My name is Ewan Rule and this webinar is the second part of a map template series covering creating map styles. The webinar will be recorded and uploaded to the Petrosys website in the next few days. It will last around 15 minutes. If you have any questions, please enter them in the questions panel, and all questions will be answered at the end of the presentation. We'll start with a brief PowerPoint and then look at a live demo of creating map styles. As I mentioned, this is the second in the map template series. My colleague Kevin covered upgrading the old map sheets into templates in the last webinar, and we'll be looking at creating extents next in the following webinar. So what are map styles? The map style includes the map border if there is one. You can choose to have everything inside the border, so it could also include your title bar. It includes coordinate annotation and grid ticks, the colours and fonts of things like annotation in the backgrounds. It also includes map elements which can be displayed inside or outside the border. So we have things like the scale bar, legend, north arrow, title block and location map, and if you choose you can also have an image stored as part of a style, so something like a company logo. So why have we introduced styles? One of the issues that lots of companies have is that they have inconsistencies in the appearance of maps that are produced, not just in the data but in the borders and the appearance of the map frames. So this is very common if you've got different interpretation systems and you're also working with GIS systems. Even though the data displayed here is the same, you can see there's a lot of inconsistency between these two maps. If you just use Petrosys, taking your data directly from your interpretation in GIS systems, you can use a unified style for all the data. So I've got a map displayed in the right here of Namibia, and hopefully you'll find this a clear and attractive map. Visually beautiful maps do tend to hold the attention. They're easier to understand and help you focus on the data. Now if you use the same style in a different area of the world, this is Gullfaks in the Norwegian North Sea, hopefully your eye is drawn to the data and not to the map surrounds. And this also gives you consistency, so there's no distractions or confusion. And it gives you a strong corporate identity. This third map is the Bass Strait off Australia. So we've now got maps of 3 different geographic areas with the same map style. So if you're trying to compare maps from different assets, it's very useful if you're sure that things are presented in a consistent style. And likewise, if you're going into peer review meetings or producing maps for investors, it helps if they're sure of your company's identity when they're looking at the maps. Just some essentials. You should only need a small group of corporate styles per site. The styles themselves can still be edited and saved to a project by an individual user, or even just applied for a specific map if you only need a slight change to the appearance. And the style is totally independent of extent or the area of interest. And by using global site styles, you can make changes that apply to all users in all maps. For example, if your company changes the corporate logo, you only need to change the site styles, and that will then be applied to all the maps that are currently being used. We'll go straight into a live demo of how you create one of these styles. I've got an empty Petrosys project here. When you open up mapping in a new project, you'll have access to the default map styles that we ship with the software. So there are half a dozen different styles that you can experiment with here and see how you find them. I think the easiest way to create a new style is to take one of these and do some editing to it. Now, when you do want to create a style, you need to think about things like coordinate annotation. If you want XY coordinates, if you want lat long coordinates, are the maps going to be used for hard copy? Are they going to be used for PowerPoint presentations? So I'd recommend you put some sort of data onto the map so you've got an idea of how the style is going to appear for the users. I've just displayed a simple grid here at a prospect level, and you can see with the default style we've got XY coordinates and a simple dynamic scale bar. To start making changes, we go to Map Template, choose Style, and then select Edit. We'll cover the other options here in future webinars. We're just going to focus on this Style tab just now. And it's not a tab that we expect many users to go into. Once the corporate styles are set up, you'll just reuse them between different projects and not have to go in here editing things. So underneath the Style tab, we've got some different options. The first one is for the layout details. This will look quite familiar for anyone that's used Petrosys map sheets in the past. Now, for the demo, I'm going to create a map style that's suitable for PowerPoints, which means I want to have as much screen real estate as possible. So I'm not going to use any map border at all, and I'm going to switch off the title bar. As we make changes, we can always hit the Apply button and just see the data redisplayed in the map to see what changes we've made to the style. So you can see the outside coordinates have disappeared. The annotation was still in the outside, so we're not seeing that either, although it is still there. To bring it to the inside, just go into the east and northern annotation, switch the east to inside, and I'm going to have east and northern coordinates on the top and on the left. And that brings our coordinates back again. If you want to have latitudes and longitudes as well, just switch those on. Same thing, you could have both of them on. I'm going to put these on the bottom and on the right. Again, in the inside of the map boundary. Now, of course, you can change things like the style of the coordinates themselves. You can change all the colours, and you can also change the increment for how frequently the coordinates and the ticks are posted. And this little slider is new. You can just move this around and make the annotation less dense or more dense as you choose. The final element I'm going to make some changes to are the map elements that are stored with this particular style. You can see we've got a scale bar displayed already. I'll choose a different scale bar here, and bear in mind you can also edit and create your own scale bars in Petrosys. Again, these can be stored at corporate level. This one is suitable for PowerPoints. It doesn't have the actual scale of a map as a number, but it's got a bar that you can measure from, and it's also got the coordinate reference system. So in combination with the coordinates, this gives you everything you need to have totally unequivocal coordinate system information and give your map longevity. If we had a title bar, we could put this in the title bar. At the moment we're only working in the map area, and we're going to position this in the bottom right. So this just needs a minor adjustment, which we'll do in a second, but we'll switch on a few more of the map elements first. I would also like to have a north arrow. We'll just take this a long and simple north arrow, and we'll position that in the top right of the map. And the third thing I'll put in here is the title block. So if you want to put some additional text in here, or you want to fill in your title block contents, you can put that into the map area too. We'll just choose a dead area in this map where there isn't any data currently displayed. We could also have a dynamic location map that would update as we change our area of interest, but we'll just leave that off at the moment. So I'm fairly happy with this template. I'm just going to say OK. The only slight adjustment I'll do is I'll move my scale bar down slightly and refresh. And the last thing I need to do is save this. So we can choose to save it as a template, and this can go into the project, so it's only available for this particular Petrosys project. I could save it to an individual user, but if I'm the site administrator, I can put it into the site folder so that it's available to everybody on site using Petrosys. Now I've got another map displayed in the background here, so this is an older map in a different project. Now if I want to make this map look similar to and consistent with the new map style, all I need to do is to go down to the Styles menu. I'm going to switch over to a list of site templates, previously the system templates displayed, and you'll see that I've got my new Styles demo style displayed here. Select that and hit OK, and the software will requery the databases, requery the data and display all of that again. But we've got the same format here with the coordinate information and inside of the map border with the same north arrow, the title block and the scale bar all updating. And remember, things like scale bars and dynamic location maps are indeed dynamic. As you zoom in and out, then they will automatically update. And this is perfect for doing things like PowerPoints when you just want to take a screenshot and put it straight into a presentation. So that's the end of the demo on creation. It really is a simple and straightforward process. And to finish off, I'll just thank you for your attention and I'll take any questions you have.